And hello everybody, welcome back to episode number 74 of the CheckX series. If you're new here, as I say every day, the CheckX series is all about me, your host Ivan, talking about everything that Elon talks about on X the day before. And today he posts, or excuse me, yesterday we're gonna discuss what he posted yesterday. On Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, he posted about 160 times, which, believe it or not, is a brand new CheckX record. The previous one to beat was 144. Rising up from a 143, but we've been sitting here for about a month. No, maybe not a month, maybe like 20 episodes, 20 to 30 episodes, almost a month, I'd say. But we have beat it. 160 is now the new number to beat for the CheckX series. Pretty crazy, if I do say so myself. But so, moving on, we do have a lot of stuff to talk about today, obviously, so to keep this intro relatively short and not to waste too much time, to pretty much get right into the episode talking about, usually we start off with Tesla, but today we are going to start off with SpaceX and space exploration, because he didn't post too much on Tesla today. Yeah, he didn't post enough on Tesla. He posted probably like once, and it wasn't enough. I just put it into the rest of the stuff, because it wasn't enough to, actually be significant. But anyway, to start off the episode, Elon explained that SpaceX is shifting its immediate focus to building a self-growing city on the moon within the next 10 years. Elon noted that while Mars remains the ultimate backup for humanity, its 26-month iteration cycle makes it a 20-plus year project. Which is pretty interesting. But Elon also said the prime directive for these missions is to ensure long-term survival of consciousness in the event of a natural or man-made catastrophe on Earth. But moving on, in terms of accessibility, Elon expressed hope to make the moon accessible to anyone who wants to go there, viewing the dollar per ton to the lunar surface as the key metric for success. Elon also assessed that there is enough carbon and hydrogen on the moon to sustain a self-growing civilization. And also, Elon responded to Jeff Bezos' posts comparing the two companies to the tortoise and the hare, suggesting that while Blue Origin might land on the moon first, SpaceX's goal is the large-scale transit of millions of tons of equipment. But moving on to artificial intelligence and XAI, not too long of a segment there. Just a couple things to talk about here. To start off this segment, Elon described Grok as a tool to understand the universe and do science during a time where he believes human research has become corrupted. And moving on, Elon also confirms that XAI plans to open source Grok 3, and also Elon identified chips as the current limiting factor for AI, but predicted that using usable electricity, will become the primary constraint within a year. And moving on, Elon agreed, which is pretty crazy, honestly, a very rapid expansion there, and we'll see how that turns out. But moving on, Elon also, last but not least, Elon agreed to that the effective use of AI agents, as opposed to simple chatbots, by the way, will create massive productivity differentials across various industries. And moving on to the criticism of Steve Bannon and the Epstein files, just a couple of things to add on here, because Elon did post quite a bit on Epstein, still mostly on politics, which we will pretty much get into after this little segment here. But to start off this segment of the video, Elon repeatedly called Steve Bannon evil and a sick fraud, accusing him of defrauding donors for a border wall fund. Elon also highlighted Bannon's alleged close ties to Jeffrey Epstein, including plans for a documentary and sharing a compound for meetings. And Elon also suggested Bannon should be at the top of the list for a Department of Justice investigation regarding his involvement with Epstein. Also, Elon reposted calls for the full release of the unredacted Epstein files and questioned why co-conspirators like Lex Wexner are not in jail. And moving on to the UK legal system and grooming gangs. To start off this segment, moving into the politics segment of this video, as you can see. Starting off, Elon heavily criticized the UK Ministry of Justice for ordering the deletion of court reporting archives, calling the action a disgrace, and comparing the UK to Orwell's worst nightmare. Elon also reposted numerous updates regarding Rupert Lowe's inquiry into grooming gangs, which is talking about Pakistani Muslim grape. Not saying the actual word. Grape gangs in the UK, by the way. Just to clarify, in the UK, characterizing the crimes as horrific and coordinated. And last but not least, Elon called for Prime Minister Keir Starmer to step up or step out, accusing the government of being more interested in policing social media than punishing rapists. And moving on to elections and voter ID, a couple things to talk about here. Starting off, Elon argued that the primary purpose of opposing voter ID laws is to conduct fraud in elections, which we've talked about a lot before, and it's pretty obvious. I mean, why else would you, right? But also, moving on, Elon advocated for the passage of the Save America Act, which requires proof of citizenship to vote, which is a pretty crazy thing to advocate for, because I feel like that should be a normal thing in a country. Because, it's almost like every other country pretty much does the same, you could say. I mean, obviously, third world, I don't fully know, because it's a whole different rabbit hole to go down. But, I mean, come on. But anyway, which requires proof of citizenship to vote, noting that 84% of Americans support such measures. Yeah, I don't really know why. And clearly quite a decent amount of percentage of Democrats seem to support that, because it's 84%. I mean, again, if that number is true, then, yeah. But moving on, talking about Social Security, unironically, or ironically, kind of, Elon pointed out that Social Security numbers are not secure federal IDs and should not be used as a substitute for voter identification. And moving on, talking about X, or formerly Twitter, whatever you would like to call it, and digital freedoms. Starting off, Elon announced that XChat will undergo rigorous security tests and that its code will be open sourced in the coming months. And also, Elon reposted content criticizing Discord's new mandatory biometric/ID verification, viewing it as a move towards a maximally surveyed internet. And also, Elon highlighted the case of a student in Brazil facing prison for her social media post, citing it as an example of spreading censorship. And I'm moving on to Starlink and energy, starting off this segment. Pretty much before you wrap up the episode here, just three things to talk about here before you wrap up the episode. Starting off, Elon shared news of a deal between Starlink and India's Gujarat, excuse me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize, state to provide internet to unserved regions. And also, Elon noted that Starlink has become a game changer for the streaming industry, specifically mentioning a live stream from Antarctica, which is pretty cool. But also, Elon responded positively to a post stating that he has done more for Ukraine via Starlink than European powers like France. Which is a crazy thing to end off the episode too. But ladies and gentlemen, as per what I just said, that pretty much wraps up episode number 74 of the CheckX series. If you guys made it all the way to the end, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, 73, excuse me. Or 74, sorry, 74, of the CheckX series. If you guys made it all the way to the end, I appreciate you guys for watching. I recommend dropping a like, dropping a comment, and subscribing if you haven't already. And if I can steal just a little bit more of your time, I recommend going back and watching some of the other, at least recent CheckX episodes, if you would like. Obviously, to get a little sequence of events. But again, if you guys would like, or if you guys have the time. But if not, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.